Hello, everyone. Good to see you here. Hello, the people that are joining online. I see mostly familiar faces, but if you know me, my name is Maria. I've been working for the XR Lab over a year ago, and I'm also the faculty teaching DMA 294 and 295, XR Development and Client Collaboration. When I first came to the lab, one of my main tasks was to get familiar with the National Science Foundation grant that we got, and we've been working with this grant for almost 3 years now. So something that I really enjoy from this grant is seeing how it brings together people from different disciplines, students, faculty, community, staff, and all of them come together looking to create something more meaningful and teaching on a different way. So it's pretty cool to see like XR Technologies bringing all these people together. And this is what you're gonna be seeing today. So today we're gonna have a presentation of different projects. All the projects that you're going to be seeing today are under this grant. And you will see projects from students doing the XR development and client collaboration class, but you will also see faculty and staff working with different students, like employees from the XR Lab, but also the big picture high school students that are here as well, and they've been a great support for all of these projects. So that will be it. With that, I would like to invite Celeste. You can come up here and we can talk about your project. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I have your project over here, and yeah, you can just tell us a little bit more about it, like.
Sure, I'll explain the concepts first.
Yeah.
I'm Celeste Watson. I'm full-time faculty in the psychology department. And so this project is supposed to kind of demonstrate the concepts of assimilation and accommodation in schemas. So a schema is basically how our brain organizes information. So it kind of tells us like what to expect. So we have schemas for like objects, like what is a table? It's something like a flat surface with legs, sometimes fours, maybe sometimes it's one in the middle. We have schemas for different situations, like when you go into a restaurant, what do you expect? You look for the sign that says, wait to be seated. If you don't see that, then you seat yourself, right? Then you get water menus, etc. So here we have an example of a schema for fish. So think of like a toddler learning what is a fish. Okay, a fish is something that has gills. It has scales. It comes in different colors. Right, there's different types of fish. Like there's bubbles like with fish. Okay, so when you are readily when you can readily insert information to enrich the schema, that's called assimilation. It just like fits in very easily. So like gills can come over. And you see the gills are part of the schema now. That's scales over. Some fish might be blue. They can be lots of different colors. We can bring that in here too. Then what about like a shark? It is technically a fish, right? But it doesn't like go in as easily. Right? Your brain has to work a little bit harder to accept that shark is also fish. So that's called a combination. So the schema, like the shape of the schema in the brain kind of has to shift a little bit to incorporate that information versus just like easily putting it in. A combination can also be creating a whole new category. So what about a whale? Right? So the whale doesn't, it's like error. Okay? So it has to create a whole new category in the brain for whales, right? So whales don't have gills. They sing versus bloop, bloop, bloop with bubbles. Whales have blubber. So that's an assimilation again, right? So then, I don't know, you could keep going on. Like maybe the kid sees a starfish, which is obviously not a whale. So then you have to create a whole new category for weird underwater creatures that don't fit into the fish category. So anyway, the idea is assimilation is when information is very easily fit into the schema. Accommodation, the schema itself has to adjust a little bit, or you have to create a whole new category.
Oh, thank you so much. So yeah, you can see how this can be like a simple example of how something, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to stop sharing my screen. One sec. One, like just adding something interactive that helps you understand how your brain works can be a good example of XR technologies. So I mean, I think this space is also meant for people to get feedback. So I don't know if you all have like any questions related to this, or what do you think of the experience overall? I think the idea will be to have this embedding canvas, right? With some explanation.
Yeah.
So people, it can be like beyond like just the text of like, okay, what is a simulation? What is accommodation? Then you have like a interactive experience that support what you are learning. So
Yeah, it's meant to come at the end of a lesson for students to just kind of play around with like a sandbox. Kind of thing. Yeah.
thank you. Any feedback, comments, questions? No? Okay, thank you. Cool. Well, I was thinking to switch things a little bit because I see Natalie here and I'm already up here, so I think it will be easier for me to talk about the other project. Yeah, yo, just come up here. Yeah, I just saw his message.
I feel like ours is. Also, thank you for all the support and the students.
Yeah, of course.
Because this is not my area expertise, I can just get.
Oh yeah, and I think it's worth like mentioning Sander. Sander is a student from Big Picture High School. He's out sick today, but he's the one that has created like most of the experience. So it's Sander. Yeah, he learned the program, never played with this program before, and just got familiar. And basically, we will meet with Celeste and we're like, okay, I need to adjust this. And then Sander was helping a lot with the development of the project. So it's pretty cool to have like faculty and then high school students supporting these kind of projects. And something similar happened with this Harlem Renaissance project. So
I get to give a little bit of background, and it's very much, I feel like still a work in progress. So I teach first of all, I just want to, Ron's not here, but he's the one that got the grant originally, and he and I both teach Essential Black Voice and Harlem Renaissance. And Ron has a son who's very much into video games and XR. And so he's actually the one that had a lot of the expertise and had played it, just used spatial. And then he brought me on because he knew I taught the class. And we were trying to figure out because we teach this online, it's mostly Running Start students. How could we bring this in as part of the curriculum? So I can give a little bit about maybe the importance of the space, and then I don't know if you can show.
Yeah, I can.
So in the Harlem Renaissance, one area of study that I'm really interested in is like the queer Harlem Renaissance. And there would be these rent parties that would happen in apartments, and they were really important to kind of be these counter publics or counterculture spaces where folks could have art, sing, perform, but also just could be openly gay. And so there are clubs in that, and we'll see a portal to a Cotton Club, which was a very famous jazz venue too. But I do think initially, it's still a little bit, I think my students right now are doing usability tests to give feedback about like, what else would we want in here? And I think initially I was thinking just people seeing what an apartment would look like in Brooklyn in Harlem at the time. I think now some of the feedback my students have given is like, what would it look like if a party is actually happening, like when it's in that lively state? So anyways, that's kind of the initial, and I think we went through, a couple of times it was like finding objects, finding the buildings, and the things for the time were really difficult.
Yeah. So actually, Sophia was the one that created this full apartment. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Do you want to say anything?
Yeah. How was your experience working for this?
I think it was pretty easy, including the models and stuff, but I think like the most challenging part was finding models that would like match the time frame.
The time frame's hard, yeah.
Because like sometimes like I'd like find a model, but like it'd be like a little bit too far ahead from like the time frame. So
Yeah.
I couldn't use it.
It's hard to scan an apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think, I was curious, like, the cotton cover, it already existed, so that
Yeah.
was, but.
But then
Yeah.
the inside, so actually Trey over there, he took the exterior and then went in the interior and add like most of the content here. And some of this content is interactive. So for example, you can get closer to the table, you press F, and then you can see like the menu, but like the original menu that was at the Cotton Club, you see like something like the meat fried rice was only $1. And you understand inflation. So it's pretty cool to be able to explore this. And if I can just show it like super quickly, you can also just do it inside virtual reality. The cool thing about these spaces is that several people can join the space at the same time and have a conversation. So if I come here, let me see if I can do it quickly. And I go inside VR. This is always challenging to set up. I'm going to share my screen, and then you should be able to see what I'm seeing right now. Okay.
There you go.
It's
Good job,
loading.
man.
Oh, wow.
And then inside VR, let me know if it stops anytime, but might take a second. So Natalie, have you been able to have several students at the same time, or
Not at the same time, because the class is asynchronous.
Yeah.
But I think Ron, that's something because he has his students actually like register and they do it at the same time, because I don't know if his is asynchronous or not.
Yeah.
But right now, what I've had students asynchronously go through the space, doing these drilling stuff. So I think one of the feedback I got this week, actually we did it this week, was the objects that they wanted to add. But I love this like fire, which is was the original zine that was actually produced in the apartment. Is there? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So you can take some things. You can like walk around.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm gonna hit
Some
something,
text.
but yeah.
I will tell you.
Like here. So it's cool also how, yeah, like this experience we are talking about VR, virtual reality, extended reality, but also having the option to have a web version of it or being able to access through your phone. So thank you so much. Okay, so after this, I think I'm gonna call the Snoqualmie project. I have your presentation out here. Also, if the people online have any feedback or any comments for this, will be great. I hear someone, but I think that was hi, Shaina. Yeah, I mean, I think always the best feedback comes from students, right? So I think it's really nice that you're able to take your students and get that input, because at the end, they are the ones that are going to be using these
And I
tools.
just happen to be teaching it right now.
Yeah. So we have like 10 more minutes. I know we have some other projects. I know, I mean, Frank, you're here. Would you like to talk a little bit about your project? David, I know you are on the screen. You're on the big screen. So David, if you want to share something, we will be able to see it. But
Sure.
yeah,
If David can set up and share his screen.
Yeah.
I'll preface it. I'm frankly, I teach in the engineering transfer program here at college. So we have a class, engineering graphics. It's a standard drawing class. I've kept it manual drawing. We do have a little bit of 3D modeling. So we use a modeler called Onshape. The visualization of spatial is what the course is about, and then translating it to paper using engineering conventions. To help visualization, the idea is to have a maze VR environment. So this is a sample of one of our first sample ones. A person will then be that first person and go in and move around in the maze. When they come back to their starting position, we will show them options of, what was the maze you just walked in? And so there might be 4 or 5 options, and their job is to pick the shape that they walk through. So this is just an initial rough setup. David's put it together. So this would be an idea of someone looking at the starting place. So this is kind of the start zone. And then they would go roam the maze, come back, and then pick a selection.
Yeah.
Trying to make it so that, well, the main goal is that we set up a skeleton, and then with certain resources, it's really easy to replicate it. So at one stage, students could create their own mazes, have 5 options, and then just coming right into this framework, it would automatically load up, and then they could walk around
Their own
in
maze.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because if it's my maze, I know the answers.
Yeah.
If it's somebody else's maze, then I get to play.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, cool. And then you can also, this is Spatial.io, that is the same tool that we use for the Harlem Renaissance apartment. So you can also potentially do this on VR. And if you clean like this whole room, people can actually walk. And I think that would be an interesting experiment to see like if by walking, like being in the room, like people are able to remember it more than just like like using the mouse.
Yes.
So if you're like scale 1 to 1, you're walking on the maze, and then see if there is any difference between that or just doing it on your computer. I will be curious to see. Oh, nice. Cool. Thank you so much, Frank. Okay. I see Max. I don't know who would like to go next from the people online. I don't have anyone else here that is going to present, so it's more up to the people online. Okay, Max, I see your camera is on, so I'm going to have you here.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Max Needle. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, the audio's a little low, Maria, just a little.
Oh, let me. Okay. Yes, we see your
Okay,
screen.
great. So I'm going to show some things. This is in the final product for what I'm doing for the XR lab, but I built on something that I made this quarter. I showed this at the symposium. This was a field mapping exercise for a geology class where students can fly around. The goal is to determine where the boundaries of certain rocks exist and then make a geologic map from that. And they can take all sorts of measurements. But the one thing that's novel that since the symposium is that instead of just being able to embed 2D images for students to investigate rocks, I now have a canvas that appears where they have access to 3D models. So this is an example of a fossil that I did a 3D scan of with Polycam. This fossil is on Bellevue's campus. And we use fossils in geology to date rock layers. So if we find a fossil in a particular rock layer, we can identify it and have an idea of how old that rock layer is based on the inclusion of the fossil. So that's the novel thing, and this is a step towards what I'm building for the XR mini grant, which will involve a lot of small, low poly 3D models within these 2-dimensional panels that the students will be able to interact with, aside from the 3D landscape that they'll be exploring.
Cool, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Matt. That's awesome.
Nancy, I see your camera is on.
Yeah.
Are you okay being next?
I can share. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I'm going to screen share.
Yeah.
All right. So my project is based off of acidifying waters in the Northwest, and people just don't realize that we have some of the world's most acidifying waters. And that's in part due to climate change. Last spring, I worked with Ron and had my students do animations of ocean acidification. as part of a science communication project. And so we have several of these animations. I'm not going to show them to you, but that different students made. And so this quarter, I'm trying to focus on one of the issues, as it's stated on the first slide here, is that this acidifying water can eat away at the shells of like oysters, which is a large industry in Washington State. And some people just like oysters. So Ala Grace has helped and scanned in now some oysters. And so I'm going to be working with those to demonstrate the acidification chemistry happening. And I'm just trying to pull up another one. We also have the outside shells. You can turn them around. And I'm excited because I might also be able to use this like as a dissection for an online dissection for those classes. And Ron and I have talked about putting that, I think I pulled up the right thing. It's the spatial IO or spatial, so that those could be placed in different rooms or in ThingLink, which is another similar tool. So that's it. That's
Yeah, thank you so much. Cool. Okay. Am I missing someone? Shanna, do you have an update on your project? Is this something you want to share? Yeah, I think that's the
We
only.
actually need to, so Shauna, if you're listening, we'll have a student.
So
We will get in touch with
Oh.
you. Shauna.
is
Yes?
Ron, were you speaking about my project?
Oh, I wasn't sure
Hi.
if you were on. So I was just gonna say that we'll get in touch with you and we'll follow up about your project. So.
Right. I have met with a prior person before, the intern that I'm going to be working with before, and shared my ideas, which are based on doing an outreach project for our healthcare management and leadership program. We do have some prior content in like an Articulate Rise module and some video. It's now, how can we incorporate that and make it more into a kind of project where we could leverage some of these tools, which I think our outreach. So I'll be working with Ron and a new intern.
Yeah, cool. I'll schedule a meeting for the early part of spring, all right? If that works for you, Shauna.
Yeah, I'm available, anytime. I'm available over break as well to discuss it.
All right, thanks.
Cool, thank you so much. I think it's very cool to see how one program, especially you're using for engineer, like English teaching, now maybe biology, and then also having like all these different people working together in projects. So thank you so much for coming. We'll have this showcase again at the end of the spring quarter, where we're gonna see some of the work that we're doing, but like more on a finalized stage. So thank you so much, and good to see you. Bye.